Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in, and if you've been here before, smash the like button on the way in. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny, and this is something that you don't usually see too much of, a Vosteed pouch, specifically with the leather embroidered logo. I don't know if this is just something new or maybe I've just been missing it, but yeah, the knife that was in here is brand new. I'm super excited because we've got another full-size Vosteed Psyop, and this was one of my favorite knives of 2024. However, this specific one is brand new, and Vosteed has actually released a couple new variants of the ever popular Psyop. This one is one that I definitely think you might want to check out. It's in the Norplex Ultratech Micarta. It's important to note that this is not just a budget version of the Psyop, it's just a different variant, and there's a lot of things going for it. Now, in case you missed my initial video review on the Vosteed Psyop where I went over all the specs and stuff, well, you know what? This one is much the same in many aspects. For example, it's still a 8-inch knife overall, meaning that it is a full-size knife. The Psyop is a collaboration with Tough Knives, and Tough Knives have initially made a custom knife called the Psyop. So long story short, this is a production version featuring the top liner lock, and the brand new version features micarta. Now, the blade steel itself is still LMAX, and Vosteed shoots for somewhere in the realm of 60 to 61 on their LMAX, which is perfect for this blade steel. The original Psyop came in titanium, and you could get it in either contoured or in slab style with some milling. In fact, you know what? I could tell you, or I could just show you. Yeah, so there we have the original Psyop. As you can see, satin finish blade, LMAX, slab style titanium. But there are a few differences aside from just the handle scales. You see it? You see that little edge right there, that little lip that sticks up? That makes it so that when you go to drop it, if you want to fully depress the button, you have to force your thumb in there and you feel it. and you feel it. You notice something that's missing there? Yeah, there's no lip. It's completely milled out behind that button, which means that when you go to do a full button press, it is silky smooth, baby. Yeah. I love that. And I gotta say, guys, this knife is really, really good. They nailed it on the micarta version. They really did. If you've never heard of Norplex Ultratech, they are the originators of micarta. And I can tell you, this is some of the most premium feeling micarta that I've ever felt. And you can thank Norplex for doing a good job on this. You know, no wonder micarta has taken off and has become a favorite when it comes to handle scale materials for knife makers and knife companies. I get it, guys. I really get it. Micarta has quite a few advantages as a handle scale material, specifically if you are someone who carries your knife. If you're not someone who just throws it in a drawer somewhere 5 minutes after unboxing it, you're going to love it. In case it rains, you know what micarta does? It will swell and become even more grippy. So in, the wet environments, it's still going to be really easy to get a nice tactile grip on this knife. And I think that that is absolutely wonderful. The micarta version comes in at $169, which is, I would say that's about $90 less than the titanium version. So you're getting a pretty great mid-range carry knife here. You get everything that you love in the regular Psyop, minus that button lip, which it was one of the few things that I hated. And also, you get a reversible pocket clip. Thank you, Vosteed. Thank you so much for doing that, because one of the complaints that the general public had, or at least a very specific group in the general public, was that it wasn't lefty friendly. Now, I am not left-handed, so to me, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I know that many people that watch the channel said, hey, that's cool. I want to try it out, but I'm left-handed. So lefties rejoice, because the new variants of the Psyop are lefty friendly in that you can switch the pocket clip. And if you're looking for something that's more premium but different than micarta or different than titanium, they do have a carbon fiber variant out there, and that looks phenomenal. But I think that this knife is really going to appeal to people who want a nice premium super steel like LMAX. They want a nice quality build that you get from Vosteed. Maybe they're okay spending a little bit of money, but they don't want to spend over 200 bucks. This is going to be phenomenal. 170 bucks for this is amazing. With the top liner lock being Vosteed's button compression lock, that means that it's going to be fidgety as a result of it being very well made. You do have different deployment options here. You got the thumb hole or the deployment hole. You've got a front flipper, and I'm not very good at the whole front flipper thing, guys. I'm not. I'm usually a thumb over the top, and I do the basic thing. You can of course also do the roll over with your index finger. Of course, I've recently injured mine, so I'm not going to do that too much, but I just wanted to showcase that this knife feels quality. And I've got to say that ultimately it's really nice to see Vosteed bringing back one of last year's favorites in a way that makes a difference for people. And I gotta say, it survived all my knife sales for a reason, and I don't regret it at all. I love the Vosteed Psyop. The collaboration with Tough Knives was 100% a success, and they've continued to do a fantastic job of fine-tuning it while keeping the things that people love. For example, we have T8 body screws, T8 pivot, T8 pocket clip screws. Now that makes a difference because you can swap it to the other side. You also get aluminum back spacers and a really nice bit of pop and flare here. Check that out. We've got a green aluminum pivot collar, and that matches the green aluminum back spacer. Now, if you're not a fan of this micarta, this is the black micarta. Now, it is newer. I've only had this for a few days now, but the more that you carry it, the darker it'll get. Micarta does a great job of adding wear patina over time, and that wear patina is great. It's kind of like the sand washing, the stone washing of life. You get to make it yours by carrying it, and there's something that's really beautiful about that. As a carry nerd, I really like the fact that the more you carry something that's made out of micarta, the more personalized it gets and the more enjoyable it gets, because micarta doesn't wear out, it wears in. Kind of like an old reliable pair of leather boots, it just keeps getting better and better over time. And this is one of those that's not going to leave you wishing that you had something more premium in your pocket. It's not going to make you feel like you have to carry multiple knives, because it's big enough to get the job done, but not so big and bulky that you feel like you need to wear an extra heavy duty belt just to go buy groceries at the end of the day. And I don't really have a whole lot to nitpick. I've got one thing on this, and it's honestly really, really easy for them to fix. I wouldn't even necessarily consider it a deal breaker, and you may have already noticed, check that out. There is no filler tab. They missed an opportunity to add a little bit more black to match the rest of the black hardware. We need a filler tab there. They could do micarta, which might not match the grain pattern, or they could just do the blackened filler tab, and that would match just fine. Or they could match it with the green back spacer and the green pivot collar, and that would work well too. Or they could just put 2 T8 screws in there as thread protectors. Either way, I do not agree with leaving that blank. I do think that that's something that could be very easy for them to fix. And I just don't know why we don't have a black filler tab right there. But none of the new model Psyops do. As far as I can tell, none of them came with that installed, but they 100% should. Other noteworthy things, we've got a single-sided captive pivot. It's running on ceramic bearings. Of course, it features the top liner lock, which is one of my favorite locks in recent history. And it's not a brand new lock type. It's just that Vosteed was one of the first to really take advantage of Spyderco and their expiring utility patent on the compression lock. They can't call it a compression lock because that is still a Spyderco trademark name, but they call it the top liner lock. However, effectively, it's still a compression lock. It compresses the stop pin between the blade and the liner. It is different than a traditional liner lock or even a button actuated liner lock. Even though it might look the same, it acts different. Regular button actuated liner locks and regular liner locks do not compress the stop pin between the blade and between the liner. And so that is how they are different. But compression locks are stronger than frame locks. I'll say it again. Compression locks are stronger than frame locks. And that's something that is very, very noteworthy, especially on a knife like this, which has really great action. And because you can finally fully depress that button, it is silky smooth. There's none of that residual feeling of pressure against the blade and that detent ball like you got on the original Vosteed Psyop. And, I'm just so glad that we have a new rendition, because this is one of those excellent knives. This is one of those knives that I would say they should make even more models of. They've done the titanium version. They did the mini Psyop, which isn't really a compression lock or a top liner lock. It's a crossbar style lock. And now they've done the micarta. They've done the carbon fiber. What's next? What new heights can you take this to? Maybe do you do a mini, but with the top liner lock? I don't know. Honestly, I think that this is great, guys. And if you agree with me and you're ready to get in on this for $169, which I think is fantastic for LMAX Norplex Ultrex micarta, it's the best micarta. Norplex Ultrex micarta is the best micarta it is. They're the originators. They know how to do it right. Everybody else is just falling in line behind them. This is honestly one of the most fun knives that I've experienced both last year and now with this new version this year. But I am officially curious, what do you think of the brand new micarta version of the Vosteed Psyop? Is this your jam, or maybe you are more interested in the carbon fiber version, which is also out now? And by the way, I will make sure to link to all the new Psyops down in the description below. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Is this great? Did you buy the original? Did you pass? Are you interested now that we have the availability for a lefty pocket clip? Let me know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button that's about to pop up in the corner above. But if you just want to watch some more awesome knife and EDC content, feel free to click on one of the videos that pops up next.